Hello, hello. We're going to take a look at dot plots today. We kind of took a little look at them yesterday, but we're going to take a couple steps further into the world of dot plots. So far this week, we've looked at frequency tables where we have numbers that represent data. Then we looked at bar graphs where we have those bars that represent data. If we're just going to do a quick review of that, remember frequency table was like when we have categories and it's like dog, 20 people like dogs, 10 people like cats, 5 people like birds. So that's a frequency table. And then if we put that on a bar graph, 5, 10, 15, 20, then, we have our categories on our x-axis, dog, cat, bird. And then the bars will match the number. So dog, there was 20 people that like dogs. There were 10 people that liked cats, and there were 5 people that liked birds. Sorry, you can't really see my numbers over there. All right, so there's a review of what we've covered so far. Frequency tables over here, and then bar graphs over here, and then we're going to look at dot plots today. So a dot plot is kind of like a bar graph in the way that you have an x-axis that has kind of categories or numbers, and then the data is the dots. So, for instance, on this, all right, we look at the title, books read last summer. So this is data that shows someone's books they read last summer, or like a class. All right, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 people read 0 books over the summer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people read 1 book over the summer. 1, 2, 3 people read 2 books over the summer. 1 person read 3 books over the summer. 1, 2 people read 4 books over the summer. 1 person read 5 books over the summer. This doesn't have a dot, so that means nobody read 6 books over the summer. 1 person read 7, 1 person read 8, and 1 person read 9. All right, so if you don't have any data, it's going to be blank. Okay, and then with the two-step questions, it would be something like, how many more people read 1 book than the amount of people that read 7, 8, or 9 books? So if you had a question like that, how many more people read 1 book? Well, we go and we look at the 1, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people read 1 book, and then we combine these 3 to find out how many read 7, 8, and 9, and that's 3. And then if we wanted to find the difference, 6 minus 3 is 3. So 3 more people read 1 book than the people that read 7 books, 8 books, and 9 books put together. All right? So that's about as complicated as it gets. Remember, look at this graph. There's a lot of stuff on this graph. You have a title. The title tells you what's up. You have these data dots, which are representative of the data. You have the label of the x-axis. Otherwise, we don't know what these mean. And then number line or the axis. Remember, we have we kept 6 on there, even though we didn't have any data, because it's a number line. So this number line goes from 0 to 9. Even the pieces of data that you don't have still have a place on your number line. They just don't have a dot above them. Finally, we can see kind of like what might have made this dot plot. Here's a frequency table, and we would just put all of this information onto the dot plot. So, for instance, Sophia read 3 books, so we put a check right there, and that's why this dot is right there over 3. Liam read 1 book, so we'll put a check right there and put 1 dot over 1. Bella read 0, so put a dot over 0. Sydney read 2, so put a dot over 2. Shelby read, wow, that's funny. Shelby read 4, so there we go. And then Bailey read 2, so we're going to put a dot over 2. Ashlyn read 4, we'll put a dot over 4. Ariana read 2, put a dot over 2. Olivia read 1, we'll put a dot over 1. Rihanna read 0, so we'll put a dot over 0. Dylan read 9, and that's where that dot came from. Rose read 1, that's where that dot came from. Addie read 0. Ron read 1. Oops, I just did 0, so let me cancel out that 0 right there. Rocky did 0. Simone did 7. Ava read 8. Sarah read 1. Lori read 5. And finally, Jeffrey read 1. So we have all of the data on these frequency tables represented here on our dot plot. So that's how we use a dot plot. There's some activities if you press next, and hope